Fading to Wednesday.
Here we are, Wednesday. And I open my eyes. Slowly.
Wednesday. I open my eyes slowly.
We should do it like that. I open my eyes slowly. Everything's just like
I
that
open my
sing-song.
eyes.
Everything's in like kind of that sing-song manner. It's a party
That'd be
day after all.
awful.
It would be
I mean,
awful.
yeah, it is the party day. The pressure in my head tells me. The pressure in my head tells me I didn't get nearly enough sleep. Not really surprised, considering we were both up until 3, and our own ghost adventure a few hours later didn't help things. I hear the doorbell and realize that's what had woken me up. Groaning, I reach under my pillow and feel around for a few seconds before I find my phone. The lump that is Carl under the blankets near my feet doesn't even budge.
He
He
does
doesn't
bulge,
even
though.
bulge.
He does bulge, but
Yeah.
he doesn't budge.
Yeah, he's having nice dreams.
Got some good vibrations.
That was the cool thing about having Carl as a roommate. He slept like a fucking rock. I did pretty much anything I wanted to, and didn't have to worry about him reporting me to the RA. Even something like jerking off. That only happened a few times, though. The rabbit I'm rooming with now is a different story. Again, the doorbell. I glance at my phone. 10 a.m. I also noticed that I have 5 texts and 2 calls.
Hey. Sorry, hey. On way to Carl's house for surprise party. Make sure you're ready. Yo?
That sounds like the reverse of a surprise party. I look down, then nudge some part of Carl with my foot. Judging by the thickness and consistency, I'm pretty sure it's his ass. He grunts.
What?
I think someone's at the door. He doesn't say anything, and a few seconds later, his guttural snore starts up again. This time, I really dig my foot in, and he yelps loudly, sitting up so fast his horns bang against the wall. He squints against the sunlight pouring in between the blinds, which turns his emerald eyes into an almost mint green. He raises a paw to block the light and looks at me, frowning.
What the hell was that?
It must make me think of like those characters who are supposed to be like Soviet people in movies. What the hell was that?
What the hell was that?
The doorbell goes off again. Door. Carl blinks at me, then slumps back down on his pillow, waving a paw lazily in the air.
Let it ring. They'll go away eventually.
Huh? Are you sure? He flops his paw around again.
Solicitor, trust me. They see this house and make a beeline. No one ever visits.
I sigh, looking back down at my phone. Oh, look, Leo texted me. That's probably him at the door. I guess my tone of surprise was a little too fake because Carl sits up and eyes me suspiciously.
Well, you can go ahead and answer it. You're allowed to touch my door.
I sigh a little harder this time. Damn it, Carl. Fine. They're planning a surprise birthday party for you, so go down there, answer the door, and act surprised.
What?
But Carl isn't just confused, he looks genuinely upset. He leans into the corner and pulls up the blanket like he's preparing to ward off the boogeyman.
My birthday isn't until next month.
I pause, watching him. I know, but we didn't have much to do, so Leo thought. I slide off the bed and start pulling on my jeans and shirt. Come on, I'll go down with you. Carl covers his face and rubs hard, the short fur on his muzzle bristling out in little spikes around his fingers.
I just wanted to relax today, you know?
Isn't that every day for you? I laugh to lighten the jab, but Carl just frowns.
Well, not with you.
I'm starting to wonder if all this isolation has worsened Carl's issues. He really has gotten the if he really has gotten the help he needs. That's all of this hiding out has just blanketed the problem and let it fester underneath. We can relax. We're all friends here, Carl. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Come on, boy. Come on.
Who's a good
Here's
Carl?
the Carl.
I pick up his clothes. I pick up his clothes on. I pick up his clothes left on the floor from yesterday and toss them at him. I'm at least relieved to see him putting them on, even if it's reluctant. My phone buzzes a few more times, but I ignore it and patiently wait for Carl to finish getting dressed. I think this will be a lot of fun. He doesn't say anything as he slowly rolls off the bed and pulls on his shorts.
So just before we continue, I do want to point out that we should be. I don't know how many people are actually stuck in the same rut that Carl is in real life. So anyone that's watching or could watch might be offended by us going, "Come on, boy, let's go! Clap, 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 clap! You can do it!
Who's that good girl?
Who's
But,
Uncle Carl? What's
no,
a good
so, like-
rhyme?" Sorry.
So I mean, this is a real thing. Like when people get hurt, they like to isolate. They like to hide. You know, just like any other animal. And so, if like the absolute worst thing that you can do in many cases is just isolate. Sometimes it's a good thing because it gives you the opportunity to de-stress and essentially let your brain rest. So like sometimes it's good for you. However, what tends to happen is people isolate and then they get used to that feeling of isolation where they don't have to go outside. And now you have somebody who pretty much just stays in their room, like all day, every day, playing video games or reading books or studying or doing anything that they can to just remain in one room and just never actually going outside. Like Discord and streams and stuff like this, like that's all nice, but it's not the real thing. Like you do want to go out there and actually be around other living, breathing humans in the flesh.
Yeah.
So
Just wanted to point that out, though. Although,
yeah,
what you said does strike me as, it does remind me of something. I think it started in Japan and it spread out to some other.
you're talking about Hikikomori?
Yeah. Hikikomori.
Yeah, Hikikomori. Doesn't that effectively just translate to shut-ins
I don't really
or
know what
something like that?
I should probably look that up, but yeah, basically they just shut themselves off completely, and at least in Japan, like the family will support them, like leave food outside the door,
Yeah,
knock, and then when they're done eating, they'll put the food outside the door,
yeah,
and they'll do it. But I guess like the COVID crisis actually probably helped Hokikimori because now they could just order Uber Eats, wait until the knock's there, and then watch the person leave and snack their food and just go back to their shelter.
yeah.
Or
And like another thing, go ahead.
I think I read what they would do before like all the delivery services came out is like they would just go to vending machines in Japan because they're so plentiful. They'd get literally anything they needed for like the day or the next couple days, and then just go have all the appliances they need in their room and just live there. And just hopefully when they snuck out in the middle of the night, they would find absolutely nobody.
Yeah, for sure. And there is something called I think it's called agoraphobia.
Let's find out what that is, kids.
What's that?
I said, let's find out what that is, kids.
So agoraphobia is the fear of going outside and like wait, I'm thinking of generalizing. Anyway, there are people who have such extreme anxiety about even going outside that they kind of get stuck shut in. I think there were several actresses who got diagnosed with this and then had to go to therapy for it. But yeah, being super isolated all the time is really bad for you. Video games in excess are bad for you. Um, there are video games that can be kind of nice, like FF14 or something. The story's pretty much a very hopeful thing.
Mhm.
And so that can help some people who are going through some really rough stuff. There are all kinds of things out there that can really help you. But the thing to keep in mind is you do want to go and deal in person with living, breathing people. Pets are nice, but a pet doesn't give you the same attachment that a human does. So, yeah. The other thing is that, as Carl has said repeatedly, like he just finds ways to deal with his problems. Like he cybers with an AI all the time. So, no judgment, but it's one of those things where why don't you just go do that with a human? Might be good for you. Chase is kind of volunteered in a lot of ways. So, you know.
Yeah, he has. And one of the good things I think Echo points out in this is that on this route, they do point
Mhm.
out that I think they used the word maladaptive in regard
Yeah.
to Carl's coping mechanisms.
Yeah, so let's just break that down for people because there's probably somebody out there who doesn't understand what that term means. So when we're talking about whenever you hear the term maladaptive or adaptive, that's usually in reference to a coping mechanism. So what is a coping mechanism? Whenever something bad happens to you, or that could be a really stressful event, that could be you get yelled at by your boss, stressful event. That could be something really sad happens, probably also a stressful event. But anyway, something happens and you feel the need to cope. You feel the need to soothe yourself, your mind, your body, and deal with this stressor. So, and a healthy coping mechanism, or I guess you could say an adaptive coping mechanism in this case, would be like meditating, or be like meditation, or journaling, or going for a jog. Listening to music can work, but it needs to be something that you can do on your own for the most part that allows you to just get rid of the stress. Specifically, get rid of it, not just sit there and bury it. So, this is why journaling and meditation is really great. You'll be able to sit there and actually deal with this problem instead of burying it.
And those methods
Maladaptive.
are called
Oh, good.
proadaptive, right?
I guess.
Or they
I,
just
I
properly well, are they well adapted? I don't know. I know maladaptive specifically is like bad.
yeah. I think they might just be called healthy coping mechanisms,
That sounds right.
but we can also just call them adaptive. So we have something that's an easy comparison to maladaptive. So when we look at the word mal, well, you see mal, it's a prefix from Latin, and we see that in like malus, which is the opposite of a bonus. So a malus would be a negative, a bonus would be a positive.
Malicious.
Um, yeah, malicious.
Also in Spanish, mal
Yeah,
is bad.
yeah.
Malísimo.
So like, mm, I'm trying to think of like so I think
Beneficial.
Bene is like Bene is good
Yeah,
and Mal
beneficial.
is bad.
Yeah.
However, we really stepped away from words like saying, "Oh well,
Benevolent.
beneficial, maleficial."
No,
Yeah, it doesn't really work. But
yeah.
so mal just means bad. So when we have maladaptive coping mechanisms, that's bad coping mechanisms. That's coping mechanisms that aren't actually helping you heal at all. So
Kind of like
that
taking a
would,
band-aid and just covering up the wound, but the the band-aid actively prevents the wound from healing. You just don't feel the pain anymore.
yeah, it's kind of
And
like this. So you have a wound and you slap a bandage on it. Well, you didn't clean the wound out, so it's not going to really get better. And when it comes time, and when that wound starts bothering you again, instead of taking the bandage off and properly dressing the wound so it will heal, you just slap another bandage on top of it. And so the wound starts to fester. And you just keep slapping bandages on top of this wound. And, eventually your arm eventually you look like Popeye with your, paper cut on your wrist, on the top of your wrist or something. But um, yeah, it's turned into this full blown infection. But it isn't going to kill you because just in this case, we'll say, but it's just this full blown infection. It's festered, but you just keep slapping more bandages on it. And what's insidious about this is that you have to start slapping larger and larger bandages on it. You have to start and think about these bandages as just more mental energy. At first, it's a little bit of mental energy, and then as the infection gets worse, you have to start progressively slapping larger and larger bandages on it until eventually you just can't slap a larger bandage on it, and that's when stuff goes bad. But mal means bad. So what would be an example of a maladaptive coping mechanism?
let's
So one
use
of them is
Carl. Let's use Carl as an example of what this, because we can actually see it, and we actually see the maladaptive coping mechanism in progress and for ourselves through Chase, and then hopefully we'll see him improve.
Yeah. So with Carl, the example of this would be isolation. So he likes to isolate. He likes video games. He likes porn is a big one. And he whenever he gets scared, he retreats into these things. That tends to be a big thing. He's isolated. I don't know if I've said that yet. But the big things are isolation, video games, porn, and drugs. So in this case, marijuana, if not other things as well. So the thing to keep in mind about Carl is that he does actually do things. Like he is productive. Like he spent a year, you know, organizing the crawl space. So I mean, he is doing things. It's just they're not really. It's just whenever he gets stressed, he has to go to other things. He has to go to these maladaptive coping mechanisms. So why is isolation so bad? Well, part of your brain is actually hardwired. Human brains are hardwired towards social interaction, like pro-social behavior. Pro meaning for, and then social. Pro is like for or supporting. Social behavior is one of the ways that your body actually kind of relieves stress in some ways. The example here is if you feel bad, like you feel really, really bad, part of you wants to isolate because you're a wounded animal. The However, that is the opposite of what you should do. You should instead go hang out with other people so that they can, because they will see that you're hurting and they will comfort you. That's kind of just how humans are. We see other people who are in pain and we want to do something about that. We want to talk to them. We want to hang out with them. Um, Guys will tend to show this. in a more aggressive sort of teasing, mocking way, and unless they realize that you're really, really hurting, at which point they'll go more for an empathetic, sympathetic sort of strategy. Women will tend to skip that first part and go straight for empathy and sympathy, whichever one seems to be working for you more. Usually empathy. Yeah, but most of the time, people around you who care about you will get towards showing you compassion. So, eventually, when they realize you're in pain. So isolation's bad for you. However, it's safe and it's easy. And what you're going to find is that most maladaptive coping mechanisms are safe, low risk, easy. If I'm hurt, if I close my door, turn off all the lights, and just sit in a corner or go to bed or sleep or something, then that is easy. I just have to, drop some sleeping pills and go to bed. No problem. I wake up, 8 hours later or 6 hours later, and I feel better. Okay, sounds good. Sometimes that's a good thing to do. However, sometimes not. So, sleeping can also be a maladaptive coping mechanism. So the whole idea that sometimes you just need to sleep. That's it. Like sometimes that's the best thing you can do right now. Other times, if you use sleep to deal with your problems too much, that can be a big issue because you're basically just taking 6 hours of your life and deleting it. But the emotional pain goes away. So, or at least it gets deadened. Okay, so isolation, bad when it's overdone. And people tend to overdo it because it starts off really easy and then it basically is a slippery slope of every time I'm stressed out, I want to be alone. Not a good idea. Video games. Video games can be great. They really can be. Okay, you had a stressful day at work, you sit down, you play a game for, 3-4 hours or whatever, and you feel great. You just had a ton of fun playing this video game, It's RimWorld, and you got invaded by some raiders and you captured two of them, and then you trained up your doctors by cutting off their arms and legs, cutting off the raiders' arms and legs, and then putting peg legs and peg arms on them. And doing this repeatedly so that they, get skilled up on surgery.
I guess that's also a bit of catharsis for you because you're hurting the people that hurt you during the day.
Yeah, right. And then, you have these raiders who are now, walking around on like peg legs and stuff in their prison cells. And then, eventually you get them incredibly high on flake, which is on flake and yayo, which is basically crack and cocaine. And you get them high on all these drugs, so they're super addicted. Then you send them back to their colony. Their problem now. But
and they have to deal with like the peg leg, the peg armed, peg legged.
I mean, you're kind of just hoping that they show up again later in a raid because they'll just be completely useless.
Yeah, that is true too.
So, there are things that you can do that can work out just fine. Some people will go home and they'll stress out playing something like Elden Ring or Dark Souls or what have you. And it's super stressful, but it's a good type of stress because you're in control. You can set the stress level. And
I'm not in control when Godric's kicking my ass for the 25th time.
Yes, you are, because you can just leave and go level up and get a little bit better. Or, specifically, while he's kicking your ass, instead of trying to beat him, you're trying to learn him instead. That's the mistake a lot of people make with Soulsborne games. Is like, a good thing to do is to just focus on the boss and learn all the boss's moves, and then you can master it really easily. It just takes a while.
So you can try to beat him, or you can learn him, then you can earn him.
Mm-hmm. You can earn that victory.
Earn that Godric booty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you're gonna bend him over and you'll be like, Godric.
Mm.
He's just like, bow before. He's like, bow before me.
Your turn.
Dude, I thought that was funny because, like, I never realized because the music's always so loud that Godric actually has voice lines that he says. He has barks,
Yeah.
and one of them is like he's like "Bow before me,"
Yeah, whenever
as
he's
he's
like
like,
slamming his axe into the ground to make the shockwaves, like, bow before me.
yeah, yeah, I never noticed that.
Yeah, you just turn the music off. It's just like, I think I
Yeah,
did that. I was like, fucking annoying. Fucking music is fucking annoying me. And I turned it off. And I was like, bow before me. Fuck you.
it's like, oh, he actually has voice lines. Okay,
You have
I
voice
wonder who
lines.
else has voice lines. Like, is Melania just talking the entire time in her fight?
Yeah,
Um,
she's just like this constant talker. It's like
she's like, I never
very
need
chatty.
it.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh, it would be
so
so funny if she was actually just chatting about her day the entire time. It's like got like the total like schoolgirl thing where she's just like chatting about her friends going to the mall and everything. She's just there just like whooping your ass.
my soldiers went to the mall, and I stayed here with my hand on my tree. Oh, Mikla.
All right, so let's go ahead and do our little surprise. We have to do it together. So it's supposed to be everyone.
So let's finish these coping mechanisms real quick. So
Wrap it
video
up.
games.
Wrap it
Then
up.
there's what was the other ones that we went with? Porn. Porn's a big one. It gives you a lot of dopamine really quickly. It makes you feel good about yourself. A lot of people use it to go to sleep. And then pot. Drugs. Drugs are really drugs tend to give you a ton of neurotransmitters, pretty much just dropping it right into your system. And so he uses those whenever he feels stressed out. He goes and gets high because it makes him feel better about himself, makes him happy. So those are the big ones, and those are maladaptive. They're bad for you. However, some maladaptive coping mechanisms are actually useful in their own ways, and other times using healthy adaptive coping mechanisms are going to be what you really want to be focusing on. But every now and again, you'll get overwhelmed, and your proper healthy coping mechanisms won't be enough. Go ahead and use a maladaptive one, and then afterwards, when you've calmed the hell down, then go in with healthy adaptive coping mechanisms and deal with all of that. Now that it's been suppressed, now that it's been brought down, now that it's not going to just completely destroy you right here and now. Okay.
Yeah,
Big
because I
ones.
think there is one very specific point about what really is maladaptive and what is adaptive. And that is it becomes maladaptive when it starts interfering with your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And also when you focus on it too much. Yeah.
yeah, so you can use a maladaptive one to help you get over like a really stressful event. As long as it doesn't become the only one and interferes with like the rest of your life, then then it's okay. But if it becomes your only source of like coping, then that's when it really becomes a problem, and you really need to look into something else. So that'd be hang out with Flynn some more, go find the side character for this route, hang out with him some more, go find some other friends and hang out with them some more, go find new friends, go do pot
Yeah.
with some friends, go have like a little pot outing somewhere.
Have a potluck. Oh.
From our I think it was it this one? No, it's a generous route. I'm not going to spoil it, but Carl's got to get his drugs from somewhere.
Oh
He doesn't
yeah.
grow them himself, so maybe hang out with those folks.
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe.
find other customers, and hopefully they're not all doing other worse stuff.
Yeah, I assume that there's a trap house in Echo somewhere.
Oh, there's got to be.
So yeah. So yeah, but yeah, maladaptive coping mechanisms, they tend to feed off of themselves and they tend to get worse and then they tend to just take over. Like
Yeah,
that's really the problem. And maladaptive coping mechanisms tend to lead to other maladaptive coping mechanisms. That tends to be the problem. It's a bit of a slippery slope.
yeah.
Yeah. So, those of you at home who are going through some tough shit, make sure you go journal. Make sure
Yeah.
you go meditate. Like, it'll
And
take a while. It won't be as good as just, spending the next 8 hours playing a video game that you really like. But, and it will take work, but proper healthy coping mechanisms deal with your problems. And another thing that's super, 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 super important. I just want to get this out of the way before we continue, which is the sooner you feel an emotion and process that emotion, the sooner that emotion goes away.
yeah. I kind of wanted
You got
to.
to,
I kind of wanted you to talk about this just because, like, if anyone is stuck in a rut and you know just the topic of that struck you really hard or kind of made you flinch a little bit or whatever, yeah, that's probably something for you to take a look at. Look at it internally to yourself. You don't necessarily need to talk to anybody, but if you think it is important enough and you think you are, and you just never really realized, yeah, reach out to someone that you know, someone that you trust, or go talk to someone. They are legally bound to not talk about, anything to talk about with you, specifically talking about a counselor or therapist.
yeah.
And they are legally bound to not talk to anyone else about it unless you are going to hurt yourself or worse.
Outside of very specific circumstances that they will happily tell you about.
Yeah.
There's something called I think it's called clinician client
Like,
privilege.
I think it's like client, it's like,
I think in this case it's like client therapist privilege or something like
yeah,
that, or
something like that.
client mental health. But basically they can't um, tell anybody about what's going on outside of very specific circumstances, which they can happily tell you about. If they do tell people that and violate that, then they can just lose their license.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Fun thing. So they would be in violation of HIPAA if they did tell people about that. And HIPAA violations are about 10 grand a pop.
Ooh. Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't think they want to go and tell one of their friends and like snicker about you behind your back when that's going to cost them like at least 10 grand to
Yeah.
do that. I think they'd just rather keep that to themselves.
That's like a couple months worth of income, I think.
Not really. But
But yeah, they don't go talking
yeah,
about that because loose lips lose their license.
yeah. And to
Literally.
be honest, people who do go and become therapists and counselors, they do actually genuinely want to help you. Sometimes they're super burnt out, right? Sometimes, like, you're the 50th client they've had this week, which is insane for a therapist, by the way. 50 clients per week is insane. Um, so, just keep in mind,
Yeah. So,
they're actually there because they want to help you.
yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Ooh.
and go ahead and like leave comments here in the
Yeah.
YouTube
Leave
videos
comments.
below. Yeah, we're happy to talk to you.
Yeah.
I'll probably start a Discord at some point, and we'll see where things go.
Yeah. We can
But
chat. And then we got a small community, but we got a big one
yeah,
too. So, reach out.
yeah.
All right.
So yeah, all
Ready?
right. Are you ready?
All right. On 3, we all got to say surprise. I'm going to do Leo's. I guess you're due Carl or Chase or Jenna.
Yeah, sure. I can do Chase
Okay.
or Jenna. I'll figure it out.
3, 2, 1. Surprise!
Surprise!
Happy not really your birthday, bitch.
As I open the door, a blast of confetti hits my face, along with a loud pop that leaves my ears ringing. TJ, not in the face. Sorry.
Sorry. Thought I was doing DJ.
Go for it. I slowly pulled a papery strings of confetti off from around my ears, and the smell of fireworks stings my nose.
Where the fuck's Carl?
I look behind me and step over to the side a bit, revealing Carl, who's got his arms folded tightly, head dipped.
Good thing I didn't answer the door, huh? Happy Thursday!
Leo bustles in, carrying 2 bags. Jenna follows, carrying medium-sized cylindrical cake covered in white frosting. Carl perks up a bit when he sees this, his long ears bouncing.
Hey, is that red velvet?
Yeah, Flynn says it's your favorite. Store made though. I would have made it myself if Leo had warned us in advance.
He's a baker, you go girl. Hey, I just came up with this like 2 days ago.
Flynn engages Carl with some fake punches while Leo sets the bags down on the table before turning to me with his low voice.
Oh, just so you know, your gift is a hornband.
Okay, so is everything alright? With Flynn, I mean? Leo glances over at the lizard, quirking the corner of his mouth up towards his ear.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. It will take a bit of time for him to settle down, but he already sorta apologized while you were gone. So that's a start, at least, yeah?
I exhale. Okay. Carl, where are your plates?
Oh, the cupboard. Second door over?
Now that Flynn's not shoving him around, Carl's standing awkwardly next to the table, paws fidgeting.
So, why are we doing this? It's not until next month.
Leo shrugs, frowning.
We just. Oh, sorry, that was almost Carl. We just wanted to do something, really. I mean, there's not much to do, you know?
You have candles anywhere, Carl?
Uh, no. No, I don't think so. What's up, man? Haven't had your morning joint yet? Lighten up!
Flynn snatches up one of Carl's horns and wobbles his head around. Well, it's something Flynn did to Carl a lot. The taboo act of
The
grabbing
tobacco act.
someone's yeah, the tobacco act. The taboo act of grabbing someone's horn almost makes me gasp out loud.
Stop!
Carl shoves Flynn off and smooths his beanie down. Well, I guess we'll have to skip the candles. I told you we should have bought some, Leo. Leo throws his arms out in a shrug.
What? Sue me if I thought they'd have everything we need in this mansion. No kidding. You know how places you haven't been to since you were little look smaller when you visit as an adult?
TJ's eyes scan around the tall ceilings.
This place still looks giant. Sure, Tej.
Carl huffs out of breath.
Why didn't you guys tell me? I still need to take a shower. Quit being a pussy. You always smell like skunk. Now eat some cake!
Flynn grabs the knife while Jenna sets out the plates. The frosting is so thick it practically absorbs the knife. I haven't had cake for breakfast since, like, your last birthday party, Carl. Carl doesn't say anything, instead, sitting at the end of the table, paws in his pockets.
You guys sure slept in. What were you doing all night?
I wait to see if Carl's going to say anything. When it's clear he isn't, I chime in. Video games, mostly, and a movie.
Fun is something we could have all done together, though. Maybe for people who don't have a job to go to the next day.
I don't think that was a personal dig at Carl, but I don't miss the downward flick of his ears. Flynn plops down a thick slice of cake onto Carl's plate, the inch deep frosting making a splattering sound.
Eh, maybe we should just stick Adobe in there and light it, huh?
Carl, who had perked up at the sight of the cake, shrinks back down with a frown.
Just a small slice, please.
Flynn eyes TJ, who's holding out his plate, and positions the knife.
Smaller, please. Oh my god, loosen up! You're on vacation!
Flynn starts cutting the slice even bigger than Carl's was.
Hey!
Flynn? She says it quietly, but the chill in her voice is clear. And so is the fact that things aren't completely okay. Flynn. Flynn grunts, then cuts the cake again, this time with a slice that's just an inch wide.
That good? Yeah, that's fine. Thanks.
TJ moves away to sit down, and the warm glow of our little get together chills. But Leo chirps in with a laugh.
Make sure Chase gets a real big chunk. He's getting way too skinny.
I don't argue with Flynn. I don't argue, and Flynn slaps down a large slice on my plate, a little notch in the center where he'd tried to cut TJ's. I sit in the vacant seat next to Carl, where he's resting a cheek on his paw, methodically shoveling the cake into his maw. Everything okay?
Hmm? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everything's good.
I'm about to ask more, but Flynn points across the table at us.
Hey, Leo. Want to tell him about what we saw on the way here?
Oh, God, no. I look at Leo inquisitively, and even Carl's ears perk up a little bit. What? Leo purses his lips like he's trying to decide whether or not to tell us.
Now might not be the best time.
Flynn rolls his eyes.
Screw you. Oh, screw it. You know Janice?
The waitress?
Yeah. The methed out one at the diner? Come on, Flynn. Well, anyway, we were driving up Main Street, toward the field, you know, with the rusted barbed wire and stuff.
TJ's holding his face with a paw as he stares down hard at his cake. Uh-huh.
Well, we turned round the bend. Well, when we turned round the bend, we saw Janice.
He keeps pausing for effect, and it's getting annoying. Okay, so what happened?
Well, she was all crouched over, staring at the road. And Leo starts driving up to her. I thought she was having, like, a heart attack or something. Yeah, well, as we get closer, we saw that her pants were down.
I recoiled a little, not having expected that at all. What?
Yeah. And when we pulled up next to her, she just grinned at us, and then...
Flynn snorts out a laugh, covering his face like he still can't believe what happened.
Can we please not talk about this? It just makes me feel awful.
What?
Well, she. Oh, hmm.
It's unusual to see Flynn at a loss for words.
Well, she just started pissing.
I'm just imagining the look on Flynn's face right now as he's actually secretly looking at Jenna, who probably looks like she's about to beat his ass.
I know. He is kind of just like that right now. Huh?
Yeah, I think Flynn knows that like almost everybody in the group can kick his ass. It's like Chase can't doesn't seem like the most capable fighter. And yet, as we saw in one of the other routes, like he can just absolutely obliterate Flynn. So it's
Yeah, when
I
he's
like
motivated, he can actually fight pretty well. And
yeah.
Flynn just got wiped out.
Yeah, so the
Flynn
question
is
then
nothing
becomes
but bluff in this game of poker.
yeah. So then the question becomes, could like Jenna just hold him down and slap him into submission?
I'm pretty sure she could. I mean, don't
I mean,
foxes eat Gila monsters in real life? So yeah, I think she would have absolutely no problem taking them down. She could
there's
probably
also the
take
other
down
thing.
half the people in the group.
Yeah, and like she's shown herself in other routes to be pretty good at fighting.
Yeah, she's
think-
pretty good. She's and very adaptable. She's faster and more maneuverable, more dexterous than agile than Leo. So she should just get
and,
him rolling over. She could probably just beat up TJ. Carl, I can. She could probably just like wheel him around and just use his brute strength against him.
Yeah, his bulk against him. Honestly, I can't imagine there being a scenario where Jenna and TJ end up fighting each other.
And if they
Like,
did,
proper
I'm
fighting each
pretty
other.
sure she would win.
Like, I'm pretty sure TJ would like take a swipe at her and be like, and then feel awful about it and be like, sorry.
Scratch her across the nose.
I'm real sorry, but you started it. I just
Yeah.
want to end it.
And start crying.
Like the very little that I know about Jenna is that she probably comes from a not great part of town. That's all of
Yeah.
Echo, but I think the shtick that I've gotten so far is that she's come from somewhat of a rough background, so she probably knows what she's doing.
Yeah, we could do Route 65, or you could check out mine, not to plug myself too much.
Mhm.
I'm doing Jenna's route now, but you could also check out Route 65. I did Carl's route on that. And
Not to plug myself, not to plug yourself. I mean, it's almost like your name is in the title.
plug other videos and series I've done.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost like it directly links right to you.
If you're on my channel, go ahead and click on Route 65 right now and check that out and see the bad history she does have. Can't
Yeah.
confirm it's not good. It's pretty fucking bad.
So she just started pissing.
So she
What?
just started pissing.
What? What? Why?
I don't know. She just smiled at us and started pissing. Heard it at first, then looked down and saw it. Then Leo hit the gas.
Flynn sits back, done with his story, not exactly looking pleased with himself. He made himself uncomfortable.
I made myself awkward.
I mean, I just started this to make everybody else uncomfortable because that's funny, but now I just feel weird. He's like, man. I
Oh.
mean,
Wait, did we say Janice or Jaundice?
we said you said Janice.
Oh
That's
no, I
fine.
broke it. We need to do it over just real quick. We need Jaundice.
I furrow my brow in confusion. Jaundice? She was one of the more well-adjusted people living in this town. Leo lets out a cough into the awkward silence.
I'm still trying to figure out exactly what happened. Like, maybe we missed something. Either way, she seemed fine a few days ago. Well, now I have more reason to never go into that diner again.
We sit there awkwardly. I notice Carl is still staring down at his now empty plate. I still can't figure out why Carl's being so quiet, but I see an opportunity to get him to talk. And change the subject from jaundice pissing all over the place.
You're not
I
going to
mean,
go.
next.
And
I mean, n- next, Flynn's going to start telling a story about how she did a headstand and started helicoptering piss all over the place. It'll be so weird.
marking the entire town as her territory.
And how Leo complained the entire time when he was washing his car.
Every single time I wiped it off, there was another layer to the spray. It's disgusting.
The ammonia has burnt its way into the paint. Now my car just looks like piss. All right.
And I'm drenched.
Oh man, You- it's like Swords. That one funnier died
Oh,
ages
God.
ago.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay. On guard, and it just starts the whole thing when they're just fighting. Sword fight for the PP.
Hey, didn't we have some weird stuff happen, Carl? Carl looks up at me.
Huh?
You know, the sounds we were hearing?
Oh. Yeah. What kind of sounds?
Like bumping sounds and voices.
That sounds creepy.
Yeah, and Carl just charged down there like he wasn't even scared.
That seems dangerous.
Carl finally gives a little smile.
Well, well, having a hard head can make you act crazy sometimes. So, did you find anything?
No, we're not sure what it was.
I'd watch out. Sounds like you got a pair of hobos banging out in your basement.
As we eat, Jenna leans over and starts pulling out presents from one of the bags. Sorry, Carl. We didn't have time to wrap these up.
It's fine.
She pulls out a comic book from TJ, a poster from Leo, and a manga from herself. She pulls out a comic book from TJ, a poster from Leo, and a manga from herself. Evidently chased out a sex change for just a second. I know you hate these things, but I think you should give it a glance.
I'll take a look. Thanks.
And this horn band is from Chase. She pulls out a orange and black band from the bag. The colors of my school. Carl's former school.
Oh,
He seems to be struggling to find something to say.
thanks. I didn't know people still wore these.
Leo suddenly shifts against the counter, realizing that he had to explain my presence.
Well, they're making a comeback. We saw a couple rams and then a stag that had like 5 of them on.
Carl glances at me, and I can tell he probably knows I didn't get it for him. Mainly because the university logo and also because we'd made fun of them together a few years ago about how bro-y they were. I don't know if I should feel embarrassed or not, but my cheeks burn anyway. I promise myself to get him something thoughtful the next time we go into Peyton.
Yeah, well, here's mine.
It's just like a bucket full of like piss.
Direct,
Straight
here,
from the source.
no. Here's jaundice's.
It's the jaundice bucket challenge. Oh, oh. Flynn reaches into his pocket and pulls out something small hidden in his paw. He hands it to Carl, who looks confused for a second before the expression turns to one of interest.
Whoa.
It's a small, metal, rectangular box with two sharp points jutting out the top. I lean in for a closer look and realize those parts are horn. Those parts are horns, and there's a complex, elegant design of a ram's face etched out at the front of the box. Carl presses a thumb against one of the horns and pushes. The top flicks up and out. The top flicks up and over, and that's when I realize it's a lighter.
Saw it when I was over on the reservation. Made me think of you.
He reaches out and traces a finger along the horns and clicks it back shut.
Thanks, Flynn. Yeah. Now you look like a badass when you decide to get blazed. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
We all jump and look over at TJ, who's looking at the floor, his plate gone from the table. Flynn starts to laugh but catches himself. Don't worry about it. They probably got 100 of these plates. Carl, where's your broom? He doesn't say anything, and we look at where Carl had been sitting a few seconds before. But he's gone, and so another portion. But he's gone, and so is another portion of the cake. Huh? Where'd he go?
Hey, check between the wall and the fridge. I think that's where I remember seeing it.
TJ gets down on his hands and knees and starts picking up the larger pieces. I look back at Carl's spot, then up the stairs. I'll be right back. Bathroom. I'm not sure why the deck is the first place I look, but that's where I find him. I watch him through the paneled curtains for a moment. He's sitting on a little swing set, facing out towards the glaringly bright desert. There's an empty plate with a fork on it next to him. He's also toying with the lighter Flynn gave him, flipping it open and closed a few times and holding it up to the light. Smoke wafts up from his lap, and I assume he's holding a joint. Quietly, I slide open the glass doors and step out into the wooden balcony. The deck is, of course, nice and big, stretching around half the house. I see Carl's long ears twitch at the sound of the. I see Carl's long ears twitch at the sound, and he lowers the lighter down into his lap, but doesn't turn around. Hey. He does turn around then and smiles.
Gee. I thought you were Leo or something. Oh no, my crotch is on fire.
Dude, that reminds me of like that video where like this kid, I guess he put like lighter fluid or something on his crotch and he lights it on fire. And and his friends like rush into the scene and they start stomping out the fire and the kid's screaming in pain. Oh, poor kid. He's like, ah. Oh man.
Dumbass. Got all the attention he wanted.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, there's 30 seconds of fame. It was like 5 seconds of fame followed by 5 years of agony. Do you remember Star Wars, kid?
No, I don't.
Oh man. He was okay. So he was this guy who he I think he was at school in Canada. He got like a pole and he got a room with dark drapes and whatever. And he basically just took a staff and like swung it around, trying to look like he was badass. But he forgot to, he forgot to delete the footage. So like next school year, somebody gets it, and they make the sticks into like lightsabers. It's like little lasers hitting the lightsabers and deflecting all. This happened like 20 years ago, but yeah. So he became like the drunk Jedi or like Star Wars kid or whatever the meme is called.
Oh yeah, I see
But
that.
yeah. And I think he graduated from law school at some point, and he found the guy who made the video and put it online. And that guy apologized to him and said he feels awful. So everything's cool, but that's just what that made me think of for some reason. Okay. Would have that been a bad thing? Why is Chase high now? Would have that been a bad thing? I look around and just decide to sit next to him on the swing.
He'd have pulled me back into the party.
I look over at him. He's looking down at his lighter, turning it over in his paw, the hoof portion of his fingers making clacking sounds against the metal. Oh yeah, that's right. He does have like hoof fingers, right?
Yeah.
Those things always fascinated me, but it seemed like it should be holding. It should make holding things more difficult, but he just managed just fine. Are you okay? Carl huffs out a chuckle and leans his head back against the cushioned backing of the seat.
That's a great question. Everyone's always asking me.
You just seemed really uptight, is all. Carl's demeanor is a lot more relaxed now, obviously. As if to emphasize that I thought, as if to empathize that thought, he takes another hit off his joint and holds his breath for a moment, then lets it out. The pungent smell envelops me.
I just don't like being around so many people. You know that.
Well, yeah. You were fine around them these past few days. Carl rubs his forehead hard with a paw holding the joint, using his palm.
Yeah, well, things weren't about me then. Just felt like a little bit put on the spot.
He coughs. Gosh.
That shit just makes me nervous. Like, can't we just hang out and not make it about me?
I don't say anything, annoyed again that I just can't grasp what he means. Am I making you nervous? Am I making you nervous? Carl finally does look at me, then his massive horns swaying towards me.
No, you never do, Chase.
I do look away at that point, almost feeling self-conscious at the way he opened up to me.
And thanks for trying to get me to talk earlier. Just makes me feel guilty, though. The way people try and include me in things, and then I just disappoint them. But you just don't really force me into shit. Everyone feels like I need to do something. It's just, why can't I just decide that for myself?
I push against the ground, making the swing sway a little, trying to think of the right thing to say. I mean, it's good to do stuff, right? You can't just sit around doing nothing forever.
Yes. It's just that I worry enough about it myself. I don't need other people doing it for me.
I lean back in the swing for a bit, looking out over the desert.
And I'm hungry. I wish I'd brought more cake with me.
Not enough incentive to go back in?
Not yet.
I could go get some for you. He smirks at me.
You one of those fat fetishists? Just feeding me garbage so my moves get bigger?
You don't have moves. I've felt them.
Yep. Can't keep your paws off me. You have a thing for my fat ass?
I look over at him, as if studying his figure. Hmm.
Hey!
He covers his chest. Well, I do actually like bigger guys. And there's nothing wrong with a little extra weight, especially if it's carried well. He looks at me expectantly. Which you do.
Sweet. You know, you seem like you'd be a pretty dope boyfriend. Just feed me cake all day, then get off on the results.
I'm about to shoot back with something snarky when a stumbling figure catches my eye. Out on the sun-baked asphalt of the road in front of Carl's house, I see a thin figure, a weasel, I think, running up the road. He stops, panting, falls on his knees before he looks over his shoulder again. His whole body slumps then, like the air's gone out of him, like he's given up on something. He turns around to look back up the road. He's far away, but even from here I can tell he's talking. Carl looks over at my Carl looks over at my silence, then then down the road where I'm looking.
Hmm?
Is that Duke?
Yeah, that's him. Must be on something. Usually.
Duke finally turns around and starts to cower, his paws up in surrender. His lips are still moving rapidly, reminding me of someone who's trying to say as much as they can before something cuts them off. What do you think? I trail off as Duke suddenly whips his head around to look up at us, then starts pointing up at our balcony.
Uh-oh. Let's hope the doors are locked.
Carl's chuckling, obviously finding the whole thing hilarious, but I'm a bit more on edge. I don't really feel like he's high. Duke's movements are a lot more focused, more precise, like he's all there. And for some reason, it feels like he's looking directly at me. I furrow my brow, watching as the weasel turns towards us, sticking a foot out to take a step. The sound of the sliding glass door wrenching open nearly makes me jump out of my skin. What the hell are you guys doing? Jenna marches around the swing set Jenna marches around the swing set to stand in front of us, paws on her hips.
Whoa! What's up, Jenna?
Carl leans back in the swing, elbows over the back, smiling. The fox's eyes narrow as she sees the joint. Did you forget who the party was for? Carl shrugs and rubs his forehead again.
Leo, guessing. Or Leo, I'm guessing?
No, we spent all day yesterday getting this ready for you. Leo especially. Now get back downstairs and have your party. Carl sits quietly for a moment, then glances at me.
No. No, I don't think I will.
He's not smiling anymore, his face expressionless, head turned head turned back towards Jenna, but his eyes are wandering off towards the side, looking at the sky. Why not?
Because it didn't fucking ask for it.
I pretend to look at my phone. What, a party? I'm so sorry we're here trying to be thoughtful, Carl. Maybe we should just forget you next time, huh? Jenna, it's okay. We're just hanging out. She ignores me. I see the skin inside Carl's ears and around his nose turning red. Since he was a kid, Carl didn't deal well with conflict, usually running away the first chance he got.
No. This was for Leo. I don't understand why we couldn't do something that didn't involve...
Sorry, Carl, but that's life. Sometimes you gotta come out of your room. Sometimes you have to be the center of attention. And sometimes, God forbid, you have to talk to people.
Well, what if I just want to stay up here and hide? Who gives a fuck?
The look on Jenna's face is approaching contempt. Are you kidding me? This is difficult for you? Jenna. Again, she ignores me. I might as well be talking to a statue, or maybe I'm the statue and she isn't paying attention to. I feel like something must have happened downstairs. This isn't like her. You never realize how good you have it, Carl. If you ever had a taste of what I've been through... I can practically feel the heat radiating off of Carl's body. He looks down at his lap.
You blaming me for that?
His voice breaks.
We all have our problems.
Some easier than others. Carl glances at her, trying to be angry, but I can tell it's not working.
You don't know what kind of shit I have to deal with.
Like being rich.
No! It's like... myself.
Oh, how terrible. The one thing you have full control over.
No! No! That's so fucking unfair!
The quiver in Carl's voice doesn't exactly sound convincing, and the pot doesn't seem to be helping as I can see his fingers shaking. Just like life. Carl's face is bewildered.
What the fuck did I do, Jenna? Did I say something wrong earlier?
Out of habit, he lifts the joint to his muzzle with his shaking fingers, but then flinches when Jenna steps forward. I guess he thought she was going to slap him or something, but instead she just reaches forward and plucks the joint from his grasp, right before flicking it back into his face. It hits his nose and Carl flinches again. Without a word, Jenna spins on her heel and opens up the door, even harder than she did the first time. I'm stunned. I haven't seen Jenna that angry since she was in middle school and definitely never at Carl. Carl doesn't say anything, instead rubbing his nose, leaning back in the seat. The insides of his ears are still flushed a deep red.
What the fuck was that?
I don't know. Something must have happened. That wasn't Jenna. I'll ask Leo about it later.
I didn't do anything, did I?
I shrug, no words coming to mind. We sit in silence a while, listening to the train horns. Looking down, I see the joint still smoking up from the planks of the floor. Slowly I lean over and pick it up before holding it out to Carl. He takes it and looks at it for a second, raising his paw. He pauses, then takes a drag before flicking it off the side of the balcony. He lets his head He lets his head sag, his big horns dipping towards the floor as he closes his eyes. Slowly, I put my arm around his shoulders. He leans into me and doesn't pull away.
So, it's over with Leo, huh?
Carl waves his controller around like it's gonna help him avoid my 3-spike throw, almost knocking over his beer bottle. It hits him anyway, and he gives a little grunt of annoyance. I grin and consider letting up on him because he's clearly drunk. Seems that way. He hasn't really talked to me much since we got here. I leave out the part that's probably my fault. Carl lets out a little weird
Huh.
sound as I punch his character.
Yeah.
I got apple. I got pineapple. No, I got apple. I got pen. Apple pen.
I got pineapple pen.
Pineapple apple pen.
Pineapple apple pen.
Carl lets out a little sound as I punch his character, as if he were the one getting punched instead.
Well, that sucks. Does it suck?
He's looking intently at the screen. Still, I get the feeling he's not paying full attention because it's getting easier and easier to nail his character with my combos. I don't really know yet. It's been 3 days. It's been 3 years. Maybe it just hasn't kicked in yet.
Takes that long to kick in for you? When Tanya dumped me, I felt like I couldn't get out of bed for a week.
Oh, God. I remember that back in high school when we were both 16. Didn't she get you into pot? Carl lets out a snort again as I flip kick his demon character in the chin.
Yep. Thank Satan for it. I don't know how else I would have gotten over her. Anyway, not to be a dick, but you're better for it.
He surprises me with a spin kick that sends my angel character flying across the screen. I focus back on the game and throw a barrage of punches into his demon character's face, sending blood splashing onto the screen. Oh?
Well, you know, it's just hard to talk to you and Leah when you guys are being all lovey-dovey and shit.
His words are mushy, starting to bleed into one another. His character throws a flaming spear at my angel, which I easily deflect with my shimmering shield. I extend my wings and swoop in to throw my lightning bolts. Well, no one really tried to talk to us when we were together. It was like we were making you guys uncomfortable. I watch his demon fly into the air, surrounded by a glowing white circle. Looking over, I see Carl frowning.
No, I don't think so.
His demon spreads its own much spikier wings and hovers up from the circle. He reaches up into the sky, and a red lightning bolt slams down on my character. You guys.
You guys were just kinda self-absorbed. You didn't call me once after you guys started dating.
And here I was, thinking Carl never liked conflict. That sentence carried a lot of weight, and a lot of years behind it. I'm not about to argue with him, though, especially after what happened with Jenna. That lightning bolt was That lightning bolt was it for my wolf angel, and his demon flies up into the screen and flips us off, winner is displayed. Well, there was college. Carl stretches, leaning back into the giant beanbag chair we're sitting on.
I don't remember much of college anymore.
He lays back in the chair and looks over at me.
By the way, I have a job interview on Friday.
My eyes widen.
Don't act so surprised, asshole.
He hangs on to the last word with a lisp. Asshole. Asshole. You're drunk, but that's awesome. You're drunk, and that's awesome. Drink more.
Chuck.
You're drunk.
Chuck.
Drink. You're drunk, but that's awesome. Where at?
A print shop? Be a production assistant.
Well, that sounds decent.
Yeah, parents told me they'd buy me a car to get there. It's in Peyton, of course. But anyway, Flynn told me he'd give me a ride to the interview, but since you're here...
He gives me a lazy, sidelong glance. Well, I usually wouldn't have an issue with it. The thought of how hard I'd been procrastinating my school project is starting to make my stomach churn. But hey, how often will I get to hang out with Carl when the break is over? I'd love to take you. You know, we were gonna go out and do stuff tomorrow. Why don't we change your look? Get you new clothes or something for your interview. He keeps smiling.
Sounds great. So, what's it like, kissing a dude?
I let out a surprised laugh. What?
You know, is it like... more...
He waggles his paws uselessly in the air. I don't know.
You kissed a girl, right? Samantha, right?
I think so. But that was like 7th grade.
So, was it different?
I laugh at him again. I'm pretty sure it's just like kissing a girl, man.
Sure.
I feel like kissing different species would be even more different.
Maybe I've always sort of wanted to know what it's like.
He says it slowly, deliberately, trying not to trip over his words while he basically looks at me and says, "Kiss me."
Kiss me,
Yeah?
you special bastard.
I say it even slower because I think I know what Carl's getting at.
I can see how guys can be sexy.
Carl, are you coming out to me? He rolls over onto his stomach, facing me fully now.
That's a good question. Maybe we can answer it.
I'm a little buzzed, but not drunk. Are you asking if you can kiss me? He gazes at me lazily through lidded eyes, looking about ready to fall asleep.
Only if you want.
I've been asked to be the experiment for a few guys in the past, in college, and I've always said no. But Carl... Sure, why not? Carl's different.
It's different.
Yeah. I mean, it's only a kiss.
I kissed a ram.
He kissed Carl. Carl kissed an otter, and he liked it.
I kissed an otter and I liked it.
Carl's eyes widen slightly, then he slowly gets to his hands and knees and crawls towards me. I was going to stand up, but it looks like he wants to do this on the beanbag. I lean back in the beanbag, sinking into it a little bit more. Carl kneels at my feet, looking unsure.
Is this right?
Yep. Do you want me to stand? Before I know it, he's crawled up on top of me. His presence is heavy and warm, and I lean back, feeling myself get hard despite the awkwardness of it all. He looks down at me, into my eyes, and I feel myself blush.
Sorry. Is this okay?
Yeah, it's fine. He leans down, pauses, then leans in all the way, and I feel his soft, wide muzzle against mine. At the same time, I feel one of his paws slide behind my head. It's different than kissing Leo or Samantha way back in middle school. Carl's muzzle is big and more blunt, his lips softer and more malleable. It covers the entire front of my muzzle. His beard tickles my neck and cheeks. I expect him to pull back quickly, but he doesn't, keeping his paw behind my head and pressing deeper into the kiss. His other paw holds onto my upper arm. I open my eyes and see that his are closed. He hunches over me, closer. I feel myself start to respond, reaching up to wrap my arms around his broad back. He huffs in response, and then I feel his lips part and his tongue flicks against my lips. I start to open them, but that's when I feel the beanbag shift and Carl slides to the side. Somehow he manages to slip and fall on the wobbly beanbag, his mouth sliding sloppily off mine as he slumps down on top of me. I let out a grunt as his weight comes to rest on my chest. He chuckles, and I can feel the spasms all the way through my body. Go ahead.
Oops.
I laugh too. But I laugh too, then wait a while. But he doesn't move. Carl? You can get off now. He doesn't say anything. I ought to say something else when I hear a deep snore right next to my ear. Carl? His response is another guttural snore. I shift under him, and for the first time realizing how actually fucking heavy he is. It's not exactly a bad feeling. His presence is enveloping and warm, and the beanbag under me is offering enough cushion so I'm not getting crushed. His snoring isn't bad either. It's almost comforting, as his breath tickles the hairs inside my ear. His big belly squishes up against my torso like a warm sandbag. His eyes are heavy, and slowly I wrap my arms around his neck.
Choke.
He's like, "Oh, chase him into that." I haven't had someone to sleep with in years, and I realize how much I miss the feeling. Just the idea that he just starts throttling him for no reason.
Just bad. Just kind of random.
Slowly, the dim lights in Carl's room fade out as I fall asleep to his comforting, rhythmic snores.
Stop!
I heave a breath as I chase TJ down and down the dusty street, trying not to pop the water balloon that I'm holding with my claws.
You always chase me.
TJ's whining again, but I don't care. He's always the funniest one to hit. His crazy speed makes it all the more rewarding. Even though he's a grade lower, he can outrun me easily. I can still keep I can still keep up with him, though, since he's running around houses and mailboxes. My fourth grade brain is easily able to figure out ways to cut him off. It's not long before I have him backed up against the back of the Benali's trailer home. He does a stupid dance when he's running back and forth, covering his head.
Stop!
I stick my tongue out to the side of my muzzle, following him back and forth with the balloon I have cocked behind my head. Hold still.
No!
He finally curls up into a ball against the house, crouching in the dirt in his blue swim trunks. I stop. Well, it's not fun if you're just. Well, it's not fun if you're not going to try to run. He looks up at me between his fingers.
You always throw it too hard.
Well, if you. He suddenly darts to the right, and I'm ready, hurling the balloon right at his back. It doesn't explode, though, instead smacking against his spotted back with a wet splat.
Ow!
He skids to a stop, then immediately bends and scoops up the balloon, grinning at how the tables have turned. Uh-oh. I start jogging backwards as TJ heaves back with the balloon, but I don't have anything to worry about. In his excitement, he grips the balloon too hard, and I can see how his claws dimple the rubber before it explodes mid-throw. Water showers his head and dust kicks up as dark spots speckle the ground, just like his fur, I think. He gasps the way cats do whenever they get any water on them, and I point and laugh. I can tell he's deciding whether or not to sulk and cry, and I hold my breath because I don't want the game to end. I think I win him over because he smiles and starts to laugh too.
That always happens to me. I
Well, don't hold it so hard.
wasn't.
Yeah, you were. I saw. I see TJ's ears perk and he looks over towards the front of the house. What? That's when I hear it too. Doing with those water balloons.
Well, there's like another kid. I guess that could be this person's voice.
Don't touch
doing
me.
Doing with those water balloons?
Don't touch me.
I'm not touching you. Just give me the fucking balloons. Clinton and Jeremy. Carl must have followed us, and they saw him out the window. My gut drops to my feet, and I feel like I'm gonna pee myself. TJ covers his mouth, and I see tears starting to brim in his eyes. I think fast. Go, run, and get Leo. He can help. Before I know it, TJ is tearing across the backyards of the houses, up the block, where Leo's filling water balloons. At least that's where I hope he's going. Slowly, I pat around the house, peeking around the corner to the front yard. Carl's standing there. Carl standing with his fists clenched, staring hard, trying to look defiant, but I can tell he's terrified. Multicolored water balloons are scattered around his hooves. He must have been carrying them all in his white tank top. He always wore a shirt when he did water games. So what's the matter, cunt face? We're not gonna hurt you.
Right.
Jeremy laughs stupidly at Clint and bends down to pick up a purple water balloon. Clint starts circling around Carl, and the ram follows him with his muzzle, nostrils flaring. As he's looking the other way, Jeremy throws the water balloon right at Carl's face. The following smack of rubber on muzzle, the balloon explodes, showering all three of them with water. Carl whimpers and covers his face. I grip the side of the house, knowing I should do something, but my legs aren't moving.
Leave me alone!
Carl's doing a good job of not crying, but he's about to. Hey, we're just playing. Clint leans down and picks up another water balloon. That's when Carl makes a break for it, dodging around the bent over Clint towards the street. Clint's too fast, though, and the ring-tailed cat instantly reaches out and catches Carl by one of his horns. He rides him for a second, jumping on Carl's back before using his long tail to trip the ram up. Carl lands on his stomach with a loud grunt as Clint sits on his back, holding onto his horns. Cunt! He stepped on my tail! Clint grabs both Carl's horns and leans back so far that I can hear his spine cracking. Carl screams in pain and reaches for his horns. With his face pointed at the sky, I can see the tears rolling down his face now. The one eye I can see wide open. The one eye I can see is wide open, and I think he sees me, but my legs still won't move.
Hey!
Leo jogs up the street, looking right at Clint. The ringtail sneers, but drops Carl back to the ground and stands up as Leo gets closer. The fuck do you want, Beaner? Clint's weary. His casual demeanor more tense now that Leo's here. I sigh with relief. Carl sits up and quickly rubs his face before standing and running back up the street, his hooves clopping loudly all the way. Leo doesn't even look at him, his eyes on Clint. I said what he wants. You no understand? Honestly, Leo might not have understood. He'd only been here less than a year. Still, Leo doesn't say anything, his jaw working, and I wonder if he's imagining chewing on Clint's neck. You fucking crazy. You're fucking crazy. Let's go, Jeremy. Clint is afraid of Leo, and he'd left us alone ever since the wolf had moved in. At least for the most part. Even though they're both 13, Leo is a head taller and almost twice as wide.
Leave them alone.
Clint stomps. What?
Leave them alone. Forever.
Clint looks hesitant, obviously not wanting to stay, but unable to leave now that Leo had thrown out a challenge. Not in front of Jeremy. Or what?
Or
He thinks for a second.
it's not good for you. Painful.
I hadn't been paying attention to Jeremy, but I see a sudden movement from behind Leo, followed by another smack of it and a splash. Leo arches back, hissing at the pain from how hard Jeremy had thrown it. The wolf whirls around, one paw rubbing at his back, and he snarls at Jeremy, who points and laughs.
Ha ha! Wetback!
He doesn't see Clint running at him from behind. Leo! I yelp out his name, and he does turn around only to catch a sucker punch right in the stomach. I can hear the thud along with all the wind, with all the air going out of him, all the way from here. Leo stumbles back and stomps with his paws on his knees, gasping. I wince and cover my eyes, only to pull them back down immediately and see Jeremy leaping on top of Leo from behind and biting his ear. Leo screams in pain, but immediately twists and slams his knee into Jeremy's crotch. Jeremy lets go and lets out his own scream, which Leo puts an end to when he grabs the fox and swings him around by the shirt. Jeremy's forward momentum is brought to a halt as he slams headfirst into an oak tree. He goes down. Clint's scared, his eyes wide as he looks from Leo to Jeremy to the front door. Leo doesn't give him a chance, though, running forward and hitting him with a tackle that slams them both to the ground. I think I hear Clint start to beg, but Leo's fist starts raining down blows on his face. Now all I can hear are crunchy, crunchy, fleshy thuds as punch after punch hits Clint's face. And now I can hear Leo too.
¿Quieres pelear? No me jodas.
The sounds Clint makes goes from snarling to screaming to gurgling, and I cover my ears because it sounds so terrible. Again, I feel like I should stop this. Leo looks like he's in a trance with how focused he is on hurting Clint. But again, I'm too terrified. I run in the direction of Carl's. I run in the direction Carl went. I need to tell him I'm sorry, that I should have helped him somehow, but that I was too scared. Even though this road doesn't lead to his house, I somehow get there. The sky is red and orange, even though it was noon just a few minutes ago. For some reason, Carl's house is bigger, much bigger than it should be. The architecture is pointier, different. I walk around it, slowly, looking for Carl. Looking down, I see hoof prints. They're too big to be Carl's, but I follow them anyway. They lead around the back of the house, right up to a wooden set of cellar doors. I reach out to them, even though I feel something terrible welling up inside my stomach. I pull on them, but they're stuck, as if welded shut somehow. A window next to the doors draws my attention, and I get down onto my knees, then onto my stomach, as I look intently through the window. There are little clear spots on the glass, little paw prints breaking through the layers of old dust. The paw prints of children. The room is almost pitch black, but the red light behind me illuminates some of the cement ground through the windows. Behind the paw prints, I see something long and spindly crawl across the ground. It has a socket for a face.
It goes blah.
I don't know where I am at first as I open my eyes, but the dimmed Lucha Lobo lamp tells me. Laying there for a while, I realize that Carl's no longer on top of me. My face fur is a little wet, and my nose is stuffy. I look around thinking that Carl probably went back to his bed, but he's not there either. He must be getting a drink or something. A dull, far-off thud makes me open my eyes again. I listen carefully, starting to worry that the sound came from downstairs. Again, I hear it and it makes me jump this time. Shit. It's happening again? I hear a voice coming from the same area, directly below me. It's a lot more muffled, but I can still tell it's a voice, muttering and cursing. Carl? My voice sounds weak and warbly in the heavy silence of the dark house. The scuffling sounds below me stop for a second, though. Then they start up again, more vigorous this time. Slowly I sit up, listening to the whispering and the thumping beneath me. My mind flashes to Duke, the weasel's foot forward, his eyes locked on me. Finally, the anxiety gets to me and I stand up, walking as quietly as I can from the room into the hallway. The kitchen is dark and I move over to the front door and check it to see if it's locked. It is, so I move over to the stairs and look down into the inky blackness, almost afraid to turn on the lights. Nothing jumps out at me when I do, but the light is actually making me more afraid knowing that it will light up anything that's down there. I move down the stairs as quietly as I can, every creak making my fur bristle. The scraping sound is louder now, and so is the voice. I'm almost positive that it's Carl's, but I can't be sure. I call out his name again, but it's almost a whisper in my throat. I clasp my paws together against my chest, eyes flicking to each doorway as I slowly move down the hall, not wanting Carl to get the jump on me. When I finally get to the crawl space door, I can pick up a rhythmic thumping along with the scrapes and muttering that is much clearer now.
Buried. Beside. Help.
I shiver. Carl, this isn't funny. Again, Carl, this isn't funny.
An
Again,
idiot.
my voice is weak and unconvincing. You probably didn't even hear me. Another thump almost shakes the house, and I jump. The hell is he doing? Is it even Carl? Did whoever is down there murder him and is now in the process of burying his body? The fear is too much, and I know I have to open the door now and put an end to this stupid prank, or I'm going to call 911 and make everything worse. With each step I take towards the door, it feels like the air is more electrified, the charge making my fur stand on end all over my body. As soon as I touch the tiny knob of the door and start to pull it open, though, the sound stops. I freeze, listening hard. I get the feeling that whatever is down there is doing the exact same thing. Then I hear a series of thuds as whatever it is runs at the door. I fall back and can't help myself from shrieking, landing on my ass and scooting backwards, my paws and feet. The door flies open, and I'm face to face with a dusty Carl. Carl, what the fuck? I scream at him, my chest heaving as I clutch it, like I'm about to have a heart attack. He looks confused, looking around, then back at me, breathing hard himself.
Just. I was just.
Oh! I wait, but he doesn't say anything. There's white dust all over his horns and on his shoulders. Just what? I yell at him again, and he jumps. I feel bad. I'd feel bad if I wasn't so freaked out.
I sleepwalk. Sometimes, okay?
I debate whether or not to accept that as an answer, but he looks confused enough that it just might be true. You scared the shit out of me. Carl moves out of the crawl space, leaning over to brush his head off.
You scared the shit out of me. I didn't know where I was.
I slowly get to my feet, still breathing heavily. What is that stuff? What were you doing in there?
Just dust. It's dirty down there.
Again, I feel like he's leaving stuff out. I try to look past him into the crawl space, but he closes the door.
Come on. I need a smoke after that.
I stand back to let him pass, tempted to open the door again. He grabs my arm when he sees me looking, though.
Seriously, dude, let's go. I don't really want to be alone in this house right now. Please?
I look at him. I can tell he's definitely freaked out. I would be too if I woke up in that crawl space. Yeah, let's go. Slowly, I follow him, looking back at the door before flicking off the light.
Thursday. Guess that's what we'll call it. So we got stuff
Indeed.
to do.
Yeah.
Oh. I know what.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks for showing up.
Thanks for showing up,
We'll
everyone.
catch you guys later.
Thanks for recording, and if
Oh, no.
you're catching this on YouTube, thanks for watching. We will see you next time. Still there?
Yeah, I use Control and Alt as a hotkey. And that made the game like super fast forward. All right. There we go.
Oh no!
It was like, oh!
All right. Well, this was fun.
Indeed. Make sure you say.
I did. I saved.
Sounds good.
Heck, good. Cool, man. All right. Well, I will see you, Finn, and everyone else next time. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.